Speedway Anywhere
on Blog Talk Radio
/Speedway Anywhere with your crew chief, Q.
Well, the reviews are in, and many are calling Homestead a big hit. And I mean, why wouldn't you? This race had it all. The dynamite finish, and then, of course, when you're at that race in person, especially, Homestead is phenomenal. You see the cars going 3 wide into turn 1. And by the time they get across the start-finish line again, the car that was 4th going into the turn is leading. It is that cool of action throughout the entire race. And of course, I love Homestead for sentimental reasons. I've been there plenty, love Miami, all those good things. But let's get to this. Over and over, you hear that Homestead needs to be the finale, the championship races again. And I mean, I'm completely in agreement. I don't see the sense in going to that little flat 1 mile out there that's not in Phoenix. Not that Miami, Homestead Miami is actually in Miami, but that's besides the point. But the action for a finale at Phoenix is just not there. I mean, it is pretty cool since they moved the start-finish line and they pan out 7 wide on the first lap or on every restart, but besides that, Phoenix just doesn't have championship caliber that Homestead has. So one of these days, hopefully NASCAR will listen and get it back there. Next year, it will be in Phoenix again for 2025, but the schedule isn't written for 2026, so let's hurry up and wait on that. So from flipping to flipping the script, as Tyler Reddick flipped at Las Vegas, it looked like his championship hopes might have taken a big hit on that, but 1 week later, dynamite finish. It was Hamlin, Blaney, Reddick, and who am I missing? And Christopher Bell. Going into those final laps, you did not know who was going to come out on top. They traded the lead so many times, and it wasn't until coming through turn 3 and 4 that it turned out to be Tyler Reddick. And I got something to say about this too, as far as him getting into the championship. Wouldn't it just be hilarious if NASCAR has to hand the trophy to Tyler Reddick? And that being because next week on Monday is the injunction hearing between 2311 and Frontrow Motorsports to whether or not they get to run as a chartered team, while both teams, Front Row, chartered teams for next year. So, and if Mr. Kessler, the attorney for 2311 and Frontrow Motorsports, happens to be at the track celebrating a championship for Tyler Reddick, and even funnier is if Denny Hamlin makes his way into the top 4 for, the finale. And what if Denny Hamlin is leading, Tyler Reddick is second, and Hamlin, being one of the owners at 2311, decides to move over a little bit, let Reddick tank the championship. I didn't say tank, I said take. It just came out wrong. But letting him, as a big middle finger to NASCAR, like, what you gonna do? Have a champion from last year not running as a charter in 2025? That would be hilarious. But that sounds kind of vindictive, don't you think? But it's what it is. I mean, NASCAR tried to twist everyone's arm to signed that charter agreement at the last hour, and 2311 in Front Row decided we ain't doing it. So yeah, but that's a whole hypothetical situation there. But yeah, the finale or the final laps of Homestead were just phenomenal. You couldn't ask for more. The entire race had action, and Homestead always does. Phoenix, not so much. So, yeah, your winners for the weekend were Tyler Reddick in the Cup Series, Austin Hill in Xfinity, and Grant Enfinger. Grant Enfinger has won 2 out of the 3 races in the truck finals, the round of 8 for the Truck Series. So there will be at least 2 drivers that point their way in for the Truck Series. 3 if Enfinger decides to go ahead and win at Martinsville. So that would make things really interesting. But let's take a look at the Cup standings. Up in first is Christopher Bell, who almost locked his way in. William Byron didn't have a horrible day, but he's second up in the standings. And then Kyle Larson is third. And technically he's fifth because he's got to get himself beyond the points of Christopher Bell and William Byron. And also somebody outside in that bottom 4 could come and, win their way in. So imagine that. Kyle Larson doesn't make the championship 4. I mean, and we can go back and blame that all on him choosing IndyCar over NASCAR back Memorial Weekend when he ran the Indy 500 instead of the Coke 600. So, it could bite him in the, I haven't swore yet since I've been back on air, bite him in the hind end. We'll just keep everything family friendly. But yeah, and then behind Kyle Larson is Tyler Reddick, who's locked in. So that puts Christopher Bell, William Byron, and Tyler Reddick, and Joey Logano as your actual top 4. But behind Larson is Hamlin in points too. So Hamlin, he's 5th in rankings, but he's actually 6th. And then you got Ryan Blaney, who's really 7th, even though it shows him 6th in the actual point standings, followed by Joey Logano, once again, has a win. And then Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott looked like he could end up winning at Homestead too, but he did lead the second most laps, I believe it was. So Chase Elliott's in a must-win situation pretty much. Mathematically, no, but realistically, yeah. You're not going to see William Byron, Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Larson all have enough problems to allow Chase Elliott to point his way in. So things are getting down to the wire going into Martinsville next weekend. So that's going to be interesting. Don't mean to be so short on the Cup Series, but I want to get to the story about the Truck Series for the weekend without making the show too long. But first, we're going to do the Xfinity standings. Justin Allgaier, he doesn't have a win in these, but he is first up, first in line for points, as well as Cole Custer, who points put him in second. And then third up is Austin Hill. Austin Hill, of course, won at Homestead, so he's in. He's doing just fine. And fourth after him is A.J. Allmendinger. A.J. Allmendinger took the win at Las Vegas, so he's been able to rest easy, sleep easy before Phoenix. So, yeah, Austin Hill and A.J. Allmendinger are your 2 winners so far in the round of 8 for the Xfinity Series. And then next up is Chandler Smith. Chandler Smith is, he's in a precarious position because he's got to get himself up ahead of Justin Allgaier and Cole Custer if he's going to point his way in. Otherwise, he's got to win. And then Jesse Loves, same situation. And Sam Mayer, who made it by the skin of his teeth coming out of the Roval to get himself into the round of 8, is back there in 8th. And then the one guy who mathematically cannot point his way in is Sammy Smith. Sammy Smith was, he won his way in early going into the cutoff race at the Roval. So, but now he finds himself on the outside looking in. So yeah, Sammy Smith has to win his way in. I'm making all kinds of mistakes, but you know, it happens. I'm doing most of this freestyle without a net, just ad-libbing most of it. So, you know, it's only my 4th show back, so that I'm still working out some bugs here. Even my little prompter down in front of me, I got to lean in and do a little bit of editing and to make the show flow. But yeah, that's been a lot of fun in that series too, as far as the Xfinity statistics going in. The Truck Series. The Truck Series standings are interesting because now you got Corey Heim, who pretty much is a guarantee to advance to the Final Four, along with Grant Enfinger, who's really a guarantee because he's got the 2 wins already. He's won the last 2 Truck Series races for the round of 8. So he can either go and show off at Martinsville or just take it easy and save the truck for Phoenix. After Grant Enfinger, Christian Eckes, he's doing good, as well as my boy Ty Majeski. The top 4 right now, as you see, Corey Heim, Grant Enfinger, Christian Eckes, and Ty Majeski, unless Roger Carruth, Taylor Gray, Tyler Ankrum, or Nick Sanchez pulls off a win, you're pretty much looking at what's going to be your Final 4. I mean, I'm just being realistic. And I gotta say too, is I wore the Ty Majeski shirt on Saturday for the truck race and he finished 2nd. Just like I wore the Hamlin shirt for the Cup Series race and he ended up finishing 3rd? Yes. So, you know, early on in the season I was wearing my Truex shirt. Truex would have a bad day. I'd wear a Kyle Busch shirt. Kyle Busch would have a bad day. This is the first time I've worn my Hamlin shirt. I bought it last winter, but being that it's long sleeve, I didn't need it all summer. So, but I thought I was cursing Truex and Kyle Busch, but I'm thinking about wearing the Kyle Busch shirt next week and see how he does at Martinsville. I mean, we'll see. So, while we're on the topic of the Truck Series, Connor Jones and Matt Mills. What seemed like just a simple retaliation turned into much more. Matt Mills was booted by Connor Jones, who he pretty much went into that turn without lifting about 3 to 4 to 5 truck lengths when he made contact with Connor Jones. That sent Connor Jones up into the wall. Connor Jones into Matt Mills and sent Matt Mills up into the wall. And as kind of a freak accident, everything busted loose in the fuel system, sending flames out the back of Matt Mills' truck, but also into the driver's cockpit. You could see it as the rear end hit the wall. That truck bursted into flames, and by the time he came down the banking, you could see the flames behind his windshield right on him. And Matt Mills had a lot of trouble getting out of the truck. He was on his feet, but not for long. He went to the ground, and you knew something bad had happened, right? but you didn't realize how severe it was. And as of last night, I haven't got an update yet today, and today's Monday at the time of this recording. I haven't got an update whether or not he's still in the hospital, but I knew he had spent 2 nights in the hospital so far at this point. Smoke inhalation, you get those flames. Thank God they don't allow open face helmets anymore. Otherwise, that would have been much worse. But the point of a lot of this is that Connor Jones didn't intend for that kind of result, right? And he was held for 2 laps for the aggressive driving. He probably should have been parked, but the extent of Matt Mills' injuries weren't known at that time. And sure, NASCAR did what NASCAR does and gave Jones a 2-lap penalty. Now, does that fit the crime? Under most circumstances, yes. But I compare this to actual court cases where when somebody's found guilty of something, the victim impact statements from the family and friends, or maybe the victim themselves, gets to make their plea before sentencing. And it does change whether somebody gets the minimum or the maximum. And in this situation, I think Connor Jones deserves the maximum. And NASCAR in the past has sat drivers for aggressive driving. I mean, for Christ's sake, remember Kyle Busch and Ron Hornaday in the Truck Series when Kyle Busch ran right up the back of Hornaday and, did not lift once he got there. And Kyle Busch even got suspended out of the Cup Series race that followed that one the following day or two. So I think if you want to compare those two, Connor Jones should be sat for the next 2 races. Apparently there's been some history behind Jones and Mills, and that still doesn't justify the extent of the repercussions that Matt Mills got from being wrecked. So we haven't found out yet as of now. I looked it up just before recording. Maybe it'll be out today, Monday. But you usually see those penalties handed down, Tuesday or Wednesday. So it'll be sometime before they get to Martinsville. So hopefully Matt Mills is doing all right now and will be released today. But there was a apology issued by Connor Jones supposedly, but I think it was a PR person that put it all together when they found the extent of what happened to Mills. So, I'm not NASCAR. I can't tell you how they judge the level of penalties. That part of the book is a very gray area. And had, say, Connor Jones been on probation, this would have automatically sat him out. But NASCAR doesn't really do the probation thing anymore. I haven't heard of it in the last couple of years myself. So, I don't know. We'll wait and see. But yeah, before Martinsville, before the finale at Phoenix, we got the injunction hearing coming up for 2311 in Frontrow against NASCAR. So that's going to be interesting if they get the injunction and going into the final weekend. And NASCAR has to just bite their lip and take it with Tyler Reddick for sure in the final 4, and possibly Hamlin, depending upon how things play out at Martinsville. So that's going to be interesting. Next up is Martinsville, and unless there's something ground shaking, earth breaking, I said those 2 backwards, didn't I? I won't be back until Monday next week after Martinsville. Otherwise, you never know. Could be some developments, and I will do my best to jump in and give my perspectives and objectives like I always do. I'm just one little guy in Minnesota, but I got my own little opinions and facts to offer. So it never gets boring. Now we got the Truck Series deal with Matt Mills and Connor Jones. We got the antitrust lawsuit going on. We got all that. It's just, you never know what's going to happen on Speedway anywhere. Catch you next time.
Speedway Anywhere.
On Blog Talk Radio.
Your source for stock car, Indy car, or any car.
No matter how many wheels.